you all a wonderful Sunday. It's a Sunday and it's in fact a very bright day. So just like the brightness of the uh, rising sun, may this day be joyous and hopeful in the life of each of you. Always remember your goal and just continue your systematic hard work. I wish you all God's blessings. Now, we just continue our discussion of the wonderful poem Passage to India by Walt Whitman. We know that this poem is about the scientific achievement of the modern world on one side and the spiritual achievement of the past. Walt Whitman is praising the present. He sings about the present. He sings about the material achievements and, of course, the material unification of the world on one side. And he is asking himself and his fellow Americans and all the other men and women of the world to go back to the past, go to the East, so that, of course, people will understand the significance of the past, significance of the East, Asia, and Africa, the great religions. Okay, so he is invoking, he is just requesting, pleading. Whitman is just pleading with his soul to venture forth on a voyage, and that voyage Whitman pleads his soul to make with him is passage to India, because only after or only with such kind of a passage, a new religion can be just created, and we need a new religion. And the new religion Whitman wants modern man to have is a combination of science and spirituality. And with this new religion, which is the result of the confluence or the combination of science and spirituality, we can have the spiritual unity of mankind. Okay, so we have seen the two parts of the long poem Passage to India. Now we have to go to the third section, and let us just review whatever we saw in the first part of Passage to India and second part. We today discuss the third part. So part one, we have two stanzas. In these two stanzas of part one, the poet speaks to us about the present. He sings the days, singing my days. That is the very opening line of the poem. You better remember that, singing my days. So he sings about his days. Whitman sings about the very present in the opening stanza, and that is the three engineering marvels. And the second stanza of part one of the poem, he tells the readers that, okay, we have also the past. And what's special about the past? The past is unfathomed. Okay, nobody has measured the depth of the past. And let us just have a voyage to the past. Okay, so because the past has also its own glory. And that is part one of the poem. Part two we saw yesterday, and in part two, which is of course of four stanzas, he speaks about the significance of making a new religion. We need a new religion, and this new religion, Walt Whitman says, is going to be a combination of the present and the past. It's a religion of the scientific development and of course the spiritual development, and such a religion only can help mankind have a spiritual unification. And he speaks in detail about the very uh, necessity of making a new religion in part 2 of the poem Passage to India. Now we move forward to the third section. So third section, Whitman continues his uh, narration of the present and the past. He speaks about what happened in the modern world, what happened in during his times. That is, of course, during the 1850s, 60s, and okay, the latter decades of the 19th century. Okay, similarly, that is the present. Okay, similarly, he helps us understand what happened in the previous centuries, like the medieval period. We have medieval period from, of course, especially after the Renaissance and the geographical, rather during the geographical discovery. So he speaks he continues to, Whitman continues to speak about what all helped mankind reach the present status. That is, of course, the all the achievements of the uh, uh, 20th century or the 19th century. Okay, and now I'll recite the third section and afterwards I'll explain. Please just look at the text. Passage to India. Lo Sol, for thee of tableaus twain. I see in one the Suez Canal initiated, opened. I see the procession of steamships, the Empress Eugenies leading the van. I mark from on deck the strange landscape, the pure sky, the level sand in the distance. I pass swiftly the picturesque groups, the workmen gathered, the gigantic dredging machines. In one again, different, yet thine, all thine, O soul, the same. I see over my own continent the Pacific Railroad surmounting every barrier. I see continual trains of cars winding along the plateau carrying freight and passengers. I hear the locomotives rushing and roaring and the shrill steam whistle. I hear the echoes reverberate through the grandest scenery in the world. I cross the Laramie Plains. I note the rocks in grotesque shape, the buttes. I see the plentiful larkspur and wild onions, the barren, colorless sage deserts. I see in glimpses afar or towering immediately above me the great mountains. I see the Wind River and the Washout Mountains. I see Monument Mountain and the Eagle's Nest. I pass Promontory. I ascend the Nevadas. I scan the noble Elk Mountain and wind around its base. I see the Humboldt Range. I tread the valley and cross the river. I see the clear waters of Lake Tahoe. I see forests of majestic pines, of crossing the great desert, the alkaline plains. I behold enchanting mirages of waters and meadows, marking through these and after all, in duplicate slender lines, bridging the 3 or 4 thousand miles of land travel, tying the eastern to the western sea, the road between Europe and Asia. Ah, Genesee, thy dream, centuries after thou art laid in thy grave, the shore thou foundest verifies thy dream. Okay, so this is the third section of the poem, Passage to India. Walt Whitman continues his singing of the present, and he talks to us. Okay, now that we have the three engineering marvels. Number one, the opening of the Suez Canal. Number two, the Trans-American Railroad. Number three, the laying of the transatlantic cable. Transport and telecommunication is possible. And okay, this is material advancement. And the poet Whitman is asking his soul to start the voyage. And this section 3 of Passage to India, Whitman and his soul, the poet and his soul, like transcendence, like a mystic, like a spiritual, maybe what is it? A spiritualist, right? A spiritualist writer. Okay, a person, a poet full of spiritual vision and power. He is moving forward along with his soul, and as he continues his journey. The journey has just commenced. Passage to India. Lo soul, Lo, look soul, oh my soul, look. For thee of tableaus twine. Okay, the poet is asking his soul, lo soul, oh my soul, look there. Okay, lo soul, look my soul. And what does the poet ask the soul to look at? Okay, look at that. Lo soul, for thee, you, oh my soul, don't you look at tableaus twine? Don't you know what a tableau is? Tableau. During the Republic Day parade on 26th January, you have tableau. Maybe in school youth festivals, you have tableau. A tableau is in fact a performance on stage in which you have a peculiar scene on stage. Maybe you have the very tableau of the Kerala people, like you have farmers standing, reaping and harvesting. Okay, then of course just tilling the soil, all that on a truck, and it is moving. That is of course the Republic Day parade tableau of the state of Kerala. Similarly, you have the maybe Kashmir, Jammu and Kashmir, the very dance forms of Kashmir. Like tableau is a scene, right? So the poet Walt Whitman is asking his soul to look at two scenes, two tableau. Lo soul, for thee of tableaus twain. Oh my soul, don't you see two scenes? Can't you see two? Okay, good morning, Ranjit. Thank you so much for your message. I see your message. Okay, good morning to everybody. Please just like the channel if you like it. That will of course just help me. If you find the live streaming lecture useful, you can like it. Of course, you can just comment. And thanks for the comment of Ranjit, right? Thank you very much. You are just inspiring. Amarnath, good morning. Yeah, Ranjit, Amar. And when you just, of course, message me, I understand whoever is listening to me. Thank you very much. We'll continue. Thank you so much, right? So let us move on. So the poet Walt Whitman is asking his soul to look at two scenes. Okay, Anita, good morning. Good morning. I am happy you are there. Thank you. Okay, now the poet is asking his soul to look at, remember throughout the poem, the poet is traveling with his soul. The presence of the body and the soul of the poet is very much there. The poet speaks to his soul. Lo soul, for thee of tableaus twain. O my soul, look for two scenes. And what are the two scenes? Okay, what are the two scenes? The scenes are, number one, okay, a scene from the ship. The poet Whitman and his soul, they are on a ship. They are standing on the deck of the ship. Okay, and that is of course one of the scenes. The other scene is scenes from a rail car. Right, a rail car. It could be maybe any transport facility. It could be a train. It could be any other vehicle. It could be a car. Okay, so the reference is to remember tableaus twain refers to scenes from the sea, ocean. Good morning, Shilpa. Good morning. Okay, and tableaus twain, scenes from the ship on one side and scenes from the car or train on the other side. So what I mean, okay, you have scenes from the landscape. You also have scenes from the ocean. The poet is asking, Whitman is asking his soul to look at the beautiful geography of United States of America and beautiful oceans and seas. Sarah, good morning. Thank you for joining. Okay, so the poet is asking his soul to look at the landscape, look at, of course, the very ocean and seas they just leave behind as the ship is heading forward, as the car or the train is moving forward. And remember, my dear students, the poet is, Whitman is praising the present. This is possible. The ship can, navigation is possible, transport is possible just because of three engineering marvels of the present. Number one, opening of Suez Canal. Number two, the Trans-American Railroad. Number three, the transatlantic cable. So, passage to India. Oh my soul, let's move to India. Why? Why do they go to India? For a new religion, which is the result of a confluence of the scientific achievements of today and, of course, the spiritual attainments of the old world, the past, the Eastern countries, the Asiatic countries. So let us have a new religion which is resulting from the West and the East. Same kind of idea, maybe a flash of idea we find in T.S. Eliot. T.S. Eliot, of course, the Wasteland, his great poem, The Wasteland. And same idea we find in Ullur again. Ullur, I think in third semester you have to study Malayalam literature in translation, and there you study music of love. And music of love, Ullur speaks about the same notion of maybe a kind of unification of the world, like he speaks about Prema Sangidam, or maybe a universal love. He says, ഒരൊറ്റ മതമുണ്ടുലകിൻ ഉയരാം പ്രേമമതം നല്ലോ പരക്ക നമ്മെ പാലമൃദൂട്ടും പാർവണ ശശിബിംബം. Same notion of universal love and spiritual unification of the West and the East is in the lines of Walt Whitman as well. Let's just continue. Lo sol for thee of tableaus twain. So annotation maybe, or paragraph question. So tableaus twain, you must be able to explain. Two scenes, two pictures, two scenes. Scene one from the ship. Scene two from, of course, the train or cars. I see in one the Suez Canal initiated, opened. Okay, tableaus twain, tableau one. First scene, first tableau, Walt Whitman sees the Suez Canal. Suez Canal is opened by Egyptian president. And now that in scene one, in tableau one, Suez Canal has been opened, has been commissioned, okay, you can travel. Navigation is possible. And what do you see? I see the procession of steamships. Steamships move forward, wade through the water one after the other. Okay, I see the procession of steamships. I see the Empress Eugenie's leading the van. Okay, Walt Whitman is making the voyage along with his soul, and he is looking at tableau 1, scene 1, and when he looks at scene 1, tableau 1, he sees the procession of a number of steamships, and these steamships are led by the steamship of Empress Eugenie. And who is Empress Eugenie? Empress Eugenie is the very Empress of France. Remember geographical discoveries. Okay, geographical discoveries. You have European countries, England, Portugal, France. Okay, all these countries, just maybe navigators from all these countries. You have Vasco da Gama, you have, of course, Columbus, you have Amerigo Vespucci. All these people just going out in search of the unknown lands, new lands. And now, okay, you have the opening of Suez Canal, and now that the Suez Canal is open, you have a short and easy way to the Asian countries. Okay, and there is a procession of steamships, and in front of all the steamships is the ship of Empress Eugenie. Empress Eugenie is the Empress of France, and she was Empress during 1853 to 1871. So don't be confused by the term the Empress Eugenie is leading the van. Who is leading or guiding all these ships? A group of ships in procession. Empress Eugenie, the Empress of the Queen of France ship, is leading the procession of all these steamships. This is tableau 1. How many tableaus does Whitman see? I see, not Whitman alone, Whitman and his soul see tableau twain, 2 tableaux. One of the tableaus is I see the procession of steamships. The Empress Eugenie is leading the van. Leading the van means, okay, just in front of all the steamships. Now, okay, I mark from on deck the strange landscape. The poet Walt Whitman and his soul, they have commenced this wonderful voyage. They have ventured forth this great journey, and when he is looking out from the deck of his ship, I mark from on deck the strange landscape, new landscapes, geography, the geography he hasn't seen. So now remember, my dear students, the subsequent part of this section 3, Whitman is describing the very landscape, the geography of United States of America. Okay, you have to remember, maybe you can look at the map of United States of America later. Okay, like, you have an idea of our subcontinent, right, India. Maybe if you are traveling from Kerala to Kashmir, you will see, okay, different landscape. Like you have the coastal landscape of Kerala. You have hills and hillocks and mountains and plateaus and valleys. Okay, similarly, Kerala, Karnataka, Andhra, okay, Tamil Nadu, then of course Madhya Pradesh, Gujarat. Okay, you have Uttarakhand, Himachal Pradesh. You have, of course, Punjab, Delhi. All right. Then, of course, J&K. All right. So you have an idea of the geography of India. All right. So similarly, Whitman is just speaking about the possible landscapes he and his soul sees as they are making a passage to India. And this passage is possible just because of the scientific uh, 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 marvels or engineering marvels just because of the achievement of modern man. Let's continue. I see the procession of steamships, the Empress Eugenie is leading the van. I mark from on deck strange landscape. Okay, a landscape he hasn't seen anymore in the past. Strange landscape, the pure sky, and he at times looks at the sky. Okay, from top of the deck of from the deck of the ship, he has a very panoramic view of the landscape down there. So too the sky and the horizon, and he is so full of joy, and he sings all this in so much of jubilance. The strange landscape, the pure sky, the level sand in the distance. Okay, he again looks forward from top of the ship, and in the distance he can see the level sand. Okay, so some of the landscape, some of the geography, some states, some areas in United States, of course, you have the level, you have plains, right? Okay, so the plains is described here, the pure sky, the level sand in the distance. Okay, he looks at all that, and I pass swiftly the picturesque groups. Okay, beautiful scene, picturesque, lot of greenery, lot of plants and trees, and of course flowers, multicolored flowers, right? Picturesque. And maybe when he is heading forward, he can also look at the very, very vast hectares and acres of farmlands where people, farmers are tilling the soil. Okay, so I pass swiftly the picturesque group, the workmen gathered. Okay, so there are picturesque group, the workmen gathered. And again, remember, the workmen gathered means whatever the workmen have done, whatever people have done, there are people working. Okay, so workmen gathered refers to maybe a pile of grain that is just reaped or harvested. Okay, all that. The workmen gathered the gigantic dredging machines. Okay, and he also speaks about scientific advancement, what science has done. Okay, so maybe if Whitman lived today, I'm sure he wouldn't sing like this, because right now he only speaks about the positive impact of science. But if he lived in the 21st century, that is our time, 2021, he should be very, very aware of global warming, then again depletion of ozone layer, pollution of soil, water, all that, and he wouldn't sing like this. Now, of course, he thinks that science has only positive impact. Okay, he doesn't know, or rather he doesn't think about the negative consequences of scientific development, and now he's glorifying science and technology, and of course industrial revolution. Look at that, the gigantic dredging machines. What does it refer to? Gigantic refers to very colossal, huge, and dredging. Okay, dredging refers to very, very powerful machinery which can remove maybe vast area of land from one place to another. Like today, of course, you are very, very aware of JCBs. You have JCBs, you have cranes, a lot of machines for industrial and construction work. and the reference is to the same. So when Whitman was writing all this, industrial revolution was at its peak. A lot of machines and machinery were invented day by day, and of course they had machines like cranes and of course the kind of JCB like machinery, and with all this they could do a lot of construction work, construction of highways, construction of roads and bridges, and yeah, of course houses and all that. Now he is just speaking about the huge powerful machines which could just remove earth, trees and all. Okay, so look at the last lines of stanza 1 of part 3. I pass swiftly. As Whitman is passing, as he is standing and looking out at the landscape, he sees, I pass swiftly the picturesque groups, the workmen gathered, the gigantic dredging machines. Okay, dredging machines like JCB and other machinery. Okay, now we move on to the next part, the longer stanza in section 3 of the poem. Okay, lo my soul for thee of tableaus twain. Don't you see two scenes, my soul? Scene 1 is this one, and in one again. What do you mean by that? In one again, in another scene, in the second tableau, in one again. Okay, tableaus twain. Tableau 1 he has already described. Tableau twain, second tableau, in one again, different. Okay, another scene. Yet thine, all thine, O soul, the same. Okay, yeah, my soul, yes, this is the second scene, and this second scene also yours and mine. We are one, right? We are looking at the second scene. It's a different scene. In one again, different, yet thine, all thine, O soul, the same. I see over my own continent the Pacific Railroad surmounting every barrier. Okay, scene 1 was the scene from the ship after the opening of the Suez Canal, and scene 2 is scene from the very land of the poet, from United States of America, from my own continent, and which is the own continent of Whitman, United States of America. And in this long stanza, Walt Whitman describes the flora and fauna and the landscape of United States of America. Okay, in one again, different, yet thine, all thine, O soul, the same. I see over my own continent the Pacific Railroad surmounting every barrier. So we know that this poem is about 3 engineering marvels, and one is of course the Trans-American Railroad, and now Walt Whitman is speaking about the Trans-American Railroad, that is the Pacific Railroad. And I see over my own continent the Pacific Railroad surmounting every barrier. What does it mean? The railroad is just going, it is getting on top of all barrier. Remember, it's very difficult to construct a road. It's very difficult to, of course, construct a highway. It's very difficult to have, you have the bullet train and all, right? So you have a lot of difficulty. And now the Pacific Railroad, the railway track of United States of America, it is very, very victorious, and it is just overcoming, it is just defeating, it is getting on top of all barrier. That is the impact of science and technology. This is sheer praise of industrial revolution. I see over my own continent the Pacific Railroad surmounting every barrier. Okay, the railway, the American railway, the railroad has conquered all the obstacles. It has, we have railway track above the hills, hillocks, mountains, and all the landscape. No barrier for trains and rail cars to move on. I see over my own continent the Pacific Railroad surmounting every barrier. And now, what else does Whitman see? I see continual trains of cars. This is development. There are trains moving forward, running fast. There are cars rushing forward. I see continual trains of cars. Okay, trains of cars, trains, okay, compartments of trains, vehicles passing, cars passing. I see continual trains of cars winding along the plats, carrying freight and passengers. Winding. What do you mean by winding? The railway track is not straight, zigzagging. That is it, zigzagging. Maybe just like a snake, zigzagging and winding like a snake. The railroad is not straight all the time. So I see continual trains of cars winding along the Platte. What is Platte? Platte, remember, is river Platte. Platte is one of, just like you have Krishna River, or you have, of course, many rivers. In Kerala, of course, you have the great Nila. Okay, you have Ganges, right? All right. So one of the rivers of United States of America is Platte River, and Platte River is a tributary of the Missouri River. You know about the Missouri River. So one of the tributaries of Missouri River is Platte River, and the railway track is beside the bank of the coast of Platte River, and Whitman just describes such a beautiful scene here. I see continual trains of cars winding along the Platte, along the coast of Platte River. Like maybe when you just travel in India, your train is passing through some of the rivers of India. Okay, the train of Walt Whitman is passing through the, or rather passing along the bank of Platte River. It is a tributary of Missouri River. Okay, the Platte carrying freight and passengers. What is freight? Freight is goods trains. Passengers, passenger train. So trains moving to and fro, lots of passengers, lots of goods. So this is the impact of benefit, or rather positive impact of industrial revolution, industrial development, science and technology, engineering. Now another description, plateau, rather tableaus twain. Tableaus twain. Scene 1, scene 2. Second scene, the poet Whitman continues his description of the second scene. Let's continue. I hear the locomotives rushing, locomotives, engines, vehicles, cars, trains, not just train alone, right? All this together, engines, right? Okay, engines of the trains, engines of the rail cars, everything. I hear the locomotives rushing and roaring. Okay, the very description of the sound of the train and the vehicles. I hear the locomotives rushing and roaring, the shrill steam whistle. Okay, the train, remember these trains are steam engine powered trains, and the very sound of the shrill steam whistling of the steam engine of the trains, still shrill steam whistle. I hear the echoes reverberate through the grandest scenery in the world. Okay, and the echo of the trains moving, the echo of the sounding of the horns of the train, the echo of the engine of the cars, okay, the echo of all the vehicles, and it is just reverberating. What is reverberation? Echoing, right? Repeating and echoing again and again. Here the echoes reverberate through the grandest scenery in the world. And he is, of course, describing the beauty of America, the beautiful landscape of America, right? I hear the echoes reverberate through the great, grandest scenery in the world. So he is praising the beauty of the landscape of United States of America, and now he is describing all the very geography, the very districts and states of America, and all the very wonderful places in United States of America, one by one. We have a number of references, and all these are place names, names of hills, names of tourist centers, and all. Please look at that. I cross the Laramie Plains, Laramie Plains, Laramie, L capital, and know that the Laramie is a city. It's Laramie is just like one of the places you have, of course, Vermont, you have San Francisco, and one such place is Laramie, and Laramie is a city in Albany County of United States of America. Okay, so Laramie is nothing but it's a city, it's a town in the Albany County, Albany district of United States of America, and he says that his train is the train or the vehicle the poet is traveling in is passing through Laramie, that is a city in Albany in United States of America. I crossed the Laramie Plains. I note the rocks in grotesque shapes. Okay, and as he is traveling in, okay, Laramie or other parts of United States of America, you can see rocks. You when you travel, you see different terrain. Maybe some places are rocky mountains. You go to the Himalayas, of course. You go to Uttarakhand. Maybe you go to, of course, right, some places you will see very hilly places. And here he is describing one such rocky mountain. And there I notice the rocks, huge rocks, rocks in grotesque shape. What is grotesque? Grotesque is, okay, grotesque. What is grotesque? Grotesque is something that is just frightening, something that can cause so much of fear in you, cause so much of terror in you. Grotesque. Maybe the scene of an accident is grotesque, blood and a lot of mutilated limbs and all. Grotesque, fearful scene. So now he is describing a geographical area, a landscape, and the landscape is rocky, and the huge rocks just standing high. It is causing so much of fear in you, and you are afraid. Why? If the rock is just falling down, it can cause so much of tragedy. So grotesque, fearful, dangerous. I hear the echoes reverberate through the grandest scenery in the world. I cross the Laramie Plains. I note the rocks in grotesque shapes. Okay, he looks at all the landscape, rocks, and the buttes. You have buttes, B-U-T-T-E-S. What do you mean by buttes? The pronunciation is B-E-U, buttes. Buttes. Remember, a butte is an isolated hill. It's an isolated hill or part of a mountain rising much above the surrounding land is a butte. So it is just a very huge mountain or hill just standing very tall above you, and that is a butte. So I cross the Laramie Plains. I note the rocks in grotesque shapes, the buttes, very high rocks and rocky mountains. I see the plentiful larkspur and wild onions, the barren, colorless sage deserts. He also describes the flora and fauna, just like the description of any plants in any poetry. Okay, like you describe the very plants you see here. He is describing some of the plants and vegetation. I see the plentiful. What do you mean by plentiful? Lot of, so many. Okay, I see plentiful larkspur. Larkspur, remember, is a plant. It is a kind of plant, and there are so many. Just like you have maybe you see a lot of shrubbery in your farm, your backyard. So he describes the plants he sees. I see the plentiful larkspur, lot of plants. And what else does he see? He sees wild onion. Wild onion is, you have some kind of plants with bulb in the soil, and maybe such type of plants which are of course not edible, are maybe the kind of onion you see in the forest or jungle, which is not edible, is wild onion. He sees different types of greenery and plants and vegetation, larkspur and wild onions, and the barren. He also sees the barren, colorless sage deserts. Sage deserts, again, a kind of plants, like you describe the very plants and weeds in your backyard, and or maybe in your farm. The poet also describes different plants he sees as he is traveling in the engine, or rather not in the engine, in the train, right? The train. Let's continue. This is clear. I see the plentiful larkspur. Larkspur is a plant. Wild onion, the barren, colorless sage desert. Sage desert is again a kind of plant. Okay. Now, more description. I see in glimpses afar, far away, in the distance, yonder, beyond. I see in glimpses, some glimpses now and then, afar, or towering immediately above me, the great mountains. Now the train is moving. As the train is moving, at times I pass behind. My train is passing behind, or rather passing through very mountainous, hilly landscape, and I see towering above me the great mountains, lot of mountains. Okay, and now he is describing some of the landscapes. I see the Wind River. Okay, Wind River is in fact one of the rivers in United States of America. So these are all different places. And good morning, Anaga. Good morning again. Thank you. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. I saw you have written good afternoon, right? Okay, thank you for joining. Okay, so he is describing the landscape again. I see the Wind River. Okay, another river, just like different cities and rivers, and the Wasatch Mountains. Okay, Wasatch Mountains, right? Washsatch, Wasatch, right? It is in fact a mountain range in the United States of. It is in the United States of America, and it's in the state of Utah. We have a lot of states in America. I think 50 states, right? Okay, and all the 50 states just represented in the 50 stars in the national flag of United States of America. So one of the states of America is Utah, UTAH, and one mountain range in Utah state is the Wasatch, Washsatch. Clear? So I see the Wind River, and the Wasatch Mountains. I see the Monument Mountain. Okay. He also sees another mountain, and Monument Mountain is a mountain in Massachusetts. He sees another mountain. Okay. He's describing, Whitman is describing the landscape, all the mountains, most of the mountains, rivers, plains, vegetation, plants, and he is happy. All this is possible because of the Trans-American Railroad, because of the transatlantic cable communication, because of the opening of Suez Canal. We can go to Asia, Africa, okay, we can go to, of course, India, the eastern countries. I see the Monument Mountain. Monument Mountain is a mountain in Massachusetts. Okay, and the Eagle's Nest. Eagle's Nest is the another mountain, and that is in the Bavarian Alps. Bavarian Alps, you have the Eagle's Nest. Okay, different locations in landscapes in United States of America. I see the Monument Mountain, the Eagle's Nest, another very elevated mountain and mountainous area. It is in Bavarian, okay, Bavarian, Bavarian Alps. And I passed the promontory. Now the train, the car is moving forward. As they move forward, their train is passing promontory. Promontory you can see in many literary works. Promontory is, of course, a landscape in area, in fact an area in United States of America, and it is, of course, a raised mass of land is promontory. So the train is again passing through promontory, and I ascend the Nevadas. You have heard about Nevadas, and Nevadas is again a mountain range in the western part of United States of America. The western part of United States, you have another mountain range, and that mountain range is Nevadas. Okay, like when you travel, maybe in Kerala, you have maybe you pass through the Palakkad area, and you can see of course, in the distance you can see the hills. The Western Ghat, you can see the Western Ghat, part of the Western Ghat you can see. Similarly, Walt Whitman is just describing the Nevadas. Nevadas is the mountain range in the western part of United States of America. I scan the noble Elk Mountain, ELK, Elk Mountain. Elk Mountain is, remember, it is again another mountain in United States of America, and Elk Mountain is famous for skiing. Skiing. What is skiing? Skiing is, of course, you have ice-covered mountains and, of course, hills. And with your ski, you can, of course, just slide down. And it's, in fact, a wonderful experience. In the Himalayas, of course, maybe sometimes if the weather is favorable and there is so much of frozen ice, you can do the same skiing. And this Elk Mountain in the United States of America is famous for skiing. It's, in fact, a ski resort, SKIING, ski resort, Elk. So Whitman continues his vivid description of the very landscape of United States of America. All this is possible just because of the engineering marvels of the present world. Okay, I scan the noble Elk Mountain and wind around its base. I see the Humboldt Range. What is Humboldt? Humboldt Range is another mountain range in the very Nevada locality of United States of America. another. Humboldt is again another mountain range. Lot of mountain ranges, and all these mountain ranges are very beautiful. And especially when in winter, all this is clad in ice, frozen ice is so spectacular a scene. And Whitman is just praising, and he tells us that okay, this is possible, travel is possible, transport is possible, movement is possible, just because of scientific material progress. Okay, I thread the valley and cross the river. Now I am threading the valley. I'm just cutting across the valley, and I cross the river. I see the clear waters of Lake Tahoe. Another scene. He Now Whitman sees the waters of Lake Tahoe. Tahoe, remember, is a we have Vembanad Kyle, okay, Ashtamudi Kyle and all. Just like that, Tahoe is a freshwater lake in Nevada. Okay, Nevada, Nevada. All right. So the description of different hills, mountains, and lakes in Nevada in United States of America. Whitman continues. I see the clear water. Why is it clear? Because it's a freshwater lake. I see the clear waters of Lake Tahoe. Tahoe is a freshwater lake I'm describing, repeating. Please write down. Tahoe is a freshwater lake in Nevada. I see forests of majestic pines. Now the train is passing through, of course, forest, and not just a simple plain forest. This is, of course, a forest of pine trees. Sky high, tall pine trees are thickly branched amidst, and the train is just moving very fast forward, and he is describing it right. Look at that. I see forests of majestic pines. Why is it majestic? So magnificent and spectacular, beautiful, yeah, scene of the pine trees. All the cone-shaped leaves of the pine, huge tall trees, okay, towering up into the sky, and the branches, okay, very, very wonderful scene. And the green leaves just shining, and the lustrous bright color of the leaves of the pine, okay, majestic pines. Or crossing the great desert. Another, maybe the train is crossing to the desert. The alkaline plains, alkaline plains. What do you mean by alkaline plains? Alkaline plains are marshy lands, okay, rather salt marshes, marshy lands where you have salty marshlands, wetlands, okay, and the land is, of course, right, wetland, and it is salty, and so much of salinity in the water, and the description of alkaline plains, salt marshes. Maybe you can also make salt from this kind of salt marshes, alkaline plains. I behold. Now, okay, Whitman, I behold, I see, I look at, I behold enchanting mirages of waters. Okay, enchanting. What do you mean by enchanting? Bewitching, very, very just beautiful, attractive, captivating, enchanting, just charming and bewitching. Okay, mirages of waters. What do you mean by mirages? Mirage means, okay, it's something like a kind of hallucination. Maybe it is something like a fantasy. Maybe it is something like an optical illusion. I'm not sure whether it is real, because it is so spectacular. It is having a kind of mesmeric impact on me, hypnotic impact on me, bewitching impact on me. Hence, it is enchanting mirages of waters. Sometimes, okay, maybe if you just travel in, right, go for maybe backwater cruise and all, you can see the ripples of the lake is so wonderful, and you would just wonder, sir, you will just amaze at the beauty of the lake or the ocean, and you wonder, oh, is it reality? So the poet is just wondering whether it is reality. Okay, and he's describing that enchanting mirages of waters and meadows, marking through these and after all in duplicate slender lines, bridging the 3 or 4 thousand miles of land travel. And now, okay, the train, the railway track, the poet Whitman is just traveling from one part, maybe the south of United States of America to the north of United States of America, maybe from, of course, the east to the west, maybe from south to the west. And as he is just traveling, is looking at the beautiful landscape and lakes and waters of the United States of America, and marking through these and after all in duplicate slender lines. Okay, so all this, okay, you can see that the river is just like a slender line. The river is just like a ribbon. Maybe the ship in the ocean or the lake, the boats in the lake is looking like ornaments, and it is just looking like a silver line, right? In duplicate slender lines. So it could that duplicate slender line can be a railway track again. Look at that, the railway track. Okay, so marking through these and after all in duplicate slender lines, the very two tracks of the railway railroad, and upon the rail track, the train, the wheels of the train is just rolling and rolling, and the train is moving forward in duplicate slender lines, bridging. And what do the train do? The train is bridging 3 or 4 thousand miles of land. Okay, so when you travel from Kanyakumari to Kashmir, you are traveling maybe more than 3,000 kilometers. Similarly, Whitman and his soul is just traveling thousands of miles land travel, tying the eastern to the western sea. Okay, so now the with this engineering skills, with the scientific progress, with material advancement, with train, railroad, okay, we can tie the eastern to the western sea. This is the very positive consequence of science and technology. This is what Whitman is singing about. This is what is the present. Okay, tying the eastern to the western sea, the rod between Europe and Asia. And now this passage is possible. Whitman is making the passage, and this rod between Europe and Asia is possible because of the opening of the Suez Canal, because of the American railroad, and now East and the West is becoming one, rather, okay, a travel between Europe, America, and Asia is possible. And the poet is happy about that. Now we come to the last 3 lines of section 3 of the poem, Passage to India. Ah, Genesee. And this is within bracket. This is within bracket. Why is it within bracket? This is within bracket because the poet is just speaking to himself or his soul. Ah, Genesee. Ah, Genesee, thy dream. Thy dream. What does it mean? Who is Genesee? Genesee is Genesee, Genoese. Who is a Genesee? A Genesee is somebody from Geneva. Geneva is in Italy. Like, of course, maybe a Kashmiri. Who is a Kashmiri? A Kashmiri is somebody from Kashmir. All right. A Keralite from Kerala. Like, A Genesi is somebody who is from Geneva. Ah, Genesi, thy dream. Okay, so oh, you who is from Geneva in Italy, it was your dream to travel around the globe, to travel around the earth, and your dream has been achieved right now. And who is this Genesi? This Genesi is Galileo from Geneva in Italy. And you know about Galileo. Okay, so Galileo, as you understand, is of course the very Italian astronomer, okay, who lived between 1564 to 1642. Okay, he is, in fact, Galileo is the father of modern astronomy. He is the father of modern astronomy, and he contributed tremendously to the development of astronomy. And you have to understand the fact that, okay, you need to keep in mind two concepts. Like you had the concept of geocentric universe before Galileo. And after Galileo, not just Galileo alone, you have to remember astronomers like Copernicus, you have Kepler and Galileo. These three are great astronomers who came forward with the idea of, rather, who just challenged the very notion of a geocentric universe. And Galileo, along with Kepler and Copernicus, etc., came forward with a notion of heliocentrism. Heliocentrism is the very notion of the solar-centered universe. All right. So and remember Galileo, when he came forward with his notion of geocentric. When he questioned geocentrism. Geocentrism is the kind of notion people had before 15th century, before Galileo, Kepler, and Copernicus and all. In fact, geocentrism is the kind of notion of the universe which is just spoken about in the holy books, especially in Bible. Okay, so Galileo, he just used the telescope, and with telescope he just observed the skies, and he came forward with his notion of the solar-centric universe. And you will understand that he was, of course, accused of heresy, and he was arrested, and he was under house arrest for a long time. And there is, of course, great controversy about how he died, but we understand that he died a natural death, but he was, of course, tortured and tortured by the church and all. A lot of controversy, but he was, of course, a great astronomer who contributed to the very notion of a solar-centric universe, and he is considered to be the father of the modern astronomy. And remember, it was Galileo's dream to of course travel around the globe. He said that, of course, the earth is round, and maybe one day we can travel around the globe. And now the dream of the Genesi, dream of Galileo, is fulfilled. It is realized. It has been accomplished because of the marvels of science and engineering. Ah, Genesi, O Galileo, thy dream, it was your dream to travel around the globe. Thy dream, centuries after thou art laid in thy grave. You died many years ago. Remember, Galileo died in 17th century, 1642. That is, to be very precise, 8th January 1642, Galileo died. So, centuries after thou art laid in thy grave, many years after you are buried, your dream has been fulfilled. Now, with the opening of Suez Canal, with railroad, with the telecommunication facility, man can do anything. All right. Centuries after thou art laid in thy grave, the shore thou fondest verifies thy dream. Okay. The shore, the very banks of the sea, the shore. Okay. You have the shore thou foundest. The shore thou foundest verifies thy dream. Okay. So Galileo, you just dreamed of just traveling around the globe, and your dream has been accomplished right now, and this is possible just because of the modern science, just because of the engineering skill of modern man. And Whitman is praising, and Whitman, okay, now we have just completed the third section of the poem, Passage to India. It was, of course, in this section, we can just consolidate the fact that Walt Whitman is asking us to look at the two tableaus. One scene from the ship scene you see when you, okay, maybe in the oceans and seas. Another scene, of course, is the scene that is the landscape of the United States of America. And this is, of course, a very, very detailed description of the seas, oceans, and rivers of United States of America, and also the very landscape and hills and hillocks and different cities of United States of America. And okay, we are just venturing forth our journey. We continue our journey, this passage to India. So Whitman is asking us to, or helping us to move forward in our passage to India. So by the time we complete the passage, we shall, of course, have more spiritual convictions, and maybe the very desire of the poet to have a new religion, which is, of course, a combination of the scientific progress of man and the spiritual progress of man, will be just fulfilled. Okay, so now we have scientific progress, and we need to have spiritual progress as well. So in order to have spiritual progress, we have to travel to East, we have to travel to Asia, we have to travel to India. And when we reach there, we shall have the new religion, which can just have a spirit, which can just unify the world spiritually. Okay, we will continue our journey in passage to India in the subsequent sessions. Thank you all for being with me. It's almost 1 o'clock, and I'm sure you must be very hungry. Yeah. Okay. So just have your lunch, enjoy your afternoon. Thanks a lot once again for being with me. If you find this lecture and my channel useful, you can just like and comment. It will be just a reward for me. Okay. May God bless all of you. Bye-bye. Thank you.